get started the meeting. We have the quorum.
Yeah, we all do.
And okay, just a few things to clarify for tonight. There were 2 meetings called. However, I am, for all intents and purposes, going to treat this as one meeting. We're going to adjourn the first one, begin the second. I don't imagine we need a break in between the 2. The attendance sheet, as far as I'm concerned, is the same for both meetings, as are the requests for excusal I'm going to read out later. It was simply a matter of timing as far as wanting to put items on agendas and the official call out. But there you have it. So we'll start off with the first one. I will read out the Native Solidarity Statement, which I'm also not doing twice because that would be silly. We'd like to acknowledge that Concordia University is on the traditional territory of the Ganyan-Gehaga, a place which has long served as a site of meeting and exchange amongst nations. The Concordia Student Union recognizes and respects the Ganyan-Gehaga as the traditional custodians of the lands and waters on which we meet today. So as far as roll call goes, the sheet's been going around. Please sign in if you haven't gotten a chance to yet. And we can jump straight into the first point of the meeting, which is appointments. Chloe, this is you.
CEO?
Yep.
So we had the CEO interviews on Friday. Myself, Rami, Jana, Hassan, and Annie are student at large on the committee. We're there for them, as well as Mohammed, the old CEO. They went really well. We only had 2 candidates apply, despite having put it through Facebook and the newsletter and all our usual outlets. Both of them were very strong. However, Mohammed, just because he has done the position, he was a DEO last year. He was obviously a little bit stronger because he understood the processes. So we would like to have council appoint him as the CEO for the new CEO, and we're going to recommend that the other candidate apply for the DEO position because I think she would be very strong there. And she's a first-year student, so she's also got a long time that she'll be at Concordia, which is also a really positive thing for her. As well as after we make a motion to appoint Mohammed, Gabe is also going to make a motion relating to the delays of the bylaws.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah. So I don't know, do you want me to read out the motion I sent in, or do we just need to ratify them?
I mean, maybe if you could read it out.
Yeah.
Take a second.
Sorry. Just pull it up. So, whereas Mohammed Nagar was the most qualified and experienced of the candidates to apply, be it resolved that Mohammed Nagar be appointed as the new Chief Electoral Officer for the Concordia Student Union.
Great. All right, is there a second to the motion? Elise, you're already sort of motivated, but is there anything else you'd like to add, Chloe?
That's on my motivation.
Okay, great. So the speaker list is open.
I wanted to speak to last year during the elections. He was very thorough and objective and neutral, so I think he's a great option.
Thank you. Okay, that exhausts the speakers list. I'll just say this is the appointment of the CEO, so it requires a 2/3 vote. So raise your placards then. All those in favor of appointing this new CEO? Opposed? And any abstentions? Okay, great, that carries. So, Gabe, did I understand this is your second point?
Yeah, it's regarding the time delays of the announcement of the polls and stuff like that, so that it matches with the comments. Well, I can just read out the thing and then I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So notwithstanding standing regulation 263, 265, and 269, be resolved that the 2015 by-election, the announcements of the polls will take place on the 29th of October, that the nomination period take place between the 30th and the 6th, and that the 30th of October, the Chief Electoral Officer shall issue public notice of additional policies and directives for the duration of the elections period.
Great. So is there a second? Second, Jason. All right.
So really briefly, the standing regulations that I mentioned are the standing regulations that the nomination period, the announcement of the polls, and the additional policies that the CEO has to give out, the time delays are outlined there. So based on when we're sort of nominating a CEO tonight, and the month, the way the school started this year was a bit awkward, an extra week. It just makes it so that the nomination period is the 5 days instead of the 10 days, or 8 days instead of the 10 days. So what would have been the 23rd of October is now the 29th. What would have been the 26th is now the 30th. The actual times of the elections and the polling periods and the campaign period are the same. It's just a nomination period before, so that they don't have to like issue the stuff like this upcoming Friday. They have theirs.
All right, great. Any questions about that? Any comments? Yeah, Terry?
I'll just say, because Marion's not here, but a couple of years back, I think it was 3 years ago, they had expanded the duration of the nomination period to take into account for lack of participation, specifically from the fine arts faculty. 1 year they had no representation for the entire year, but obviously since then we've had full representation from fine arts and the other faculties throughout consistently year after year. So I think that measure was exhausted in terms of like the function it was supposed to perform. And the year previous, we're following the same delays as the year previous as well. So I think we should probably have that at review at policy committee, but I'll mention that, or I'll say that because Marion's not here today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Further points, further questions? Okay, and given that we're notwithstanding a few regulations, this also requires a 2/3 vote. So those in favor of the motion, please raise your placards. Opposed? And any abstentions? Okay, great, that carries as well. All right, so this is about to adjourn the first meeting, but beforehand.
Wait, CSO.
Oh, of course,
the
yeah, that's right,
CCSL.
this was all part of the same motion, yeah. Okay, so the CCSL points, is this also a good point?
Yeah, should I just, because usually it goes through, like I just ratify the minutes, but should I just read out the motion?
Yeah, sure,
Shall I?
please.
Alright, so motion to appoint Theo Daniel to sit on the Concordia Council on Student Life, and that's just the motion.
Okay, great. Oh, seconded by Ben, all right. Speakers list? Yeah, Ben?
Actually, no.
Okay. All right. Those in favor of the motion? Okay, opposed? And abstentions? One, all right, well that carries. All right, sorry for almost having skipped that point. What I was going to say is that before adjournment, I do want to read out a few requests for excusals from executives, which, as I mentioned before, I think should apply to this and our soon-to-be second meeting as well. We've got 3 of them. First one from Marion, who writes, hey there, Matt, I'm sending my regrets to council tonight. I had an important appointment scheduled several weeks ago that cannot be moved. John writes, I cannot make it to tonight's council meeting. I have a CSU event that was planned far before the meetings were called, and I'm requesting council's excusal for both meetings. And then Ass writes, hi there, I'm sending this message to ask council to be excused from the special council meeting October 21st, as I have previous engagements that prevent me from attending. I'll make myself reachable if there are any queries. Thank you, and Ass. So those are the 3 requests for excusal. Ben.
All 3.
Okay, a motion to excuse all 3. Seconder. Did Aris here?
Can you just put their name in the actual motion?
Oh, yeah, it always is, yeah. And notwithstanding the financial penalties, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Okay, speakers list on that, or we just go to a vote? Is anyone opposed to excusing these councilors? Okay, great. So that carries, and we'll need a motion to adjourn, and then I will begin the second meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn? Michael, seconded. Okay, Genevieve. Is anyone opposed to adjournment? Okay, great. Then we will begin the second meeting of the night. Just call to order. As I mentioned, as far as I'm concerned, the speaker has no speakers list. The attendance sheet is the same for this one. And the point is referendum, which I believe is Ben's point.
Yeah. Do you want me to read out the entire wording of the referendum, or?
Would anybody like it read out? I think
It's the same one as the last meeting.
Also no.
And I'll just read it anyways because there's the camera and it's here. So just be resolved that the following question be put to ballot for the 2015-2016 by-elections. And the wording is, do you as a member of the Concordia Student Union, in brackets CSU, support the CSU employing its resources, including a portion of the Student Space Accessible Education and Legal Contingency Fund, to establish an autonomous Concordia-based solidarity economy incubator that will primarily engage students through the support, development, study, and promotion of democratic enterprises, which have an explicit public benefit mandate, like the Hive Cafe Solidarity Cooperative and the Popular University Student Housing Push Fund. And that's the wording.
All right. Is there a seconder to that? I think Lucy went up first. Okay. Motivation?
Basically, after the last meeting, it seemed clear that a simpler solution, especially during the midterm season, so to speak, would be instead of getting the petition signatures, just go to council. So I just figured that this way it was easier. We already had a meeting as well, so it wasn't burdening anybody anymore either. So
Sure. Okay. Speakers is open then. So Terry, we're just discussing the point referendum, and there's a speaker list if you have any questions. Luis?
How would this be campaigned for? Because it seems like a pretty complicated subject and there's a lot of background for people to vote on. Like the petition could have provided, at least for the people who have been signing the petition.
yeah.
So I'm just wondering about if you have any idea of how?
Do you want me to explain further a little bit?
Yeah, just like broadly.
Yeah, so basically, and this is, I would have been comfortable also explaining at the last meeting as well, but there's an ongoing 2-year proposal essentially being produced for a solidarity economy incubator with a bunch of people within the community that have been involved in a bunch of projects that are going on right now. And this is kind of taking into account the context that we're in right now, which is there's momentum around with the Changer program and whatnot at D3. There's momentum around collective and social entrepreneurship and things like that. These projects are obviously getting off the ground as well. The campaign, there will be, this is kind of within that context to try to maximize the, the impact and, direction of the university as it regards those issues at a very opportune time. And the campaigning will be, writing, there will be written explanations and whatnot to give further elaboration. I haven't actually worked out specifics as to the campaign, but I intend on circulating information about it, but we haven't worked it out. I also have one of the petitioners here as well. It's Nick. But yeah, so as for the campaign, I'm not sure, but if you want me to, if there's if you have advice as to what can be done, I'm definitely open for it.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Yep.
I think just if people want to know more about a resource group that would act in a similar capacity, or that does act in a similar capacity elsewhere in Montreal, if you look at RISC, it's Réseau Investissement Social du Québec. It's a similar function, but obviously on a different scale and isn't catered to students. It's catered to established groups. But I think this is it's been inspired through structures that already exist, such as that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Okay, I think that about exhausts the conversation then. So does anyone need the motion reread again? Is it fairly clear? Oh, yeah, okay. Would you mind reading
Yeah,
again?
I'm just gonna, I wanted to add one more thing too. One of the barriers potentially with RISC is also that it's largely a Francophone institution, and Concordia is obviously more of a European city. So, as somebody who was doing a lot of grant writing and whatnot for the Hive when it was first started, I can tell you that there is a barrier between of access. So it's much more difficult to dive into if you're not anyways. It's very technical information that needs to be provided. So it's not just basic French and conversational French. It's technical French, but so that's one distinction, but the wording is, so the motion is to send this to ballot. And the wording is, do you as a member of the Concordia Student Union support the CSU employing its resources, including a portion of the SELDA fund, to establish an autonomous Concordia-based solidarity economy incubator that will primarily engage students through the support, development, study, and promotion of democratic enterprises, which have an explicit public benefit mandate like the Hive Cafe Solidarity Cooperative and the Popular University Student Housing Push Fund. And that's the wording. So that's one motion.
That's the motion. So those in favor, please raise your placards. Those opposed? Okay, abstentions? Okay, that carries. Ben, do you have anything further to add?
If there were to be an expense incurred related to this, it would obviously have to go through a referendum as well. And this is only intended to start a conversation and to see where that conversation goes.
All right. Adjournment number 2. Michael? Motion to adjourn, all right. Seconded, Lucy? Anyone opposed to adjournment? Meeting adjourned.